The men and women of law enforcement, the men and women of the firefighting community must stand as pillars of physical fitness and mental readiness. Welcome to First Responder Fitness with Carl Wimmer, where armor is forged through mental, spiritual, and physical preparation. Welcome to First Responder Fitness with Carl Wimmer. I am your host, Carl Wimmer. Thank you for joining me again this week for another episode and another opportunity that we get to spend together talking about some of the things that are so critically important for first responders. In the next half hour, we're going to be discussing some very important issues that, frankly, for some of you may be difficult to listen to. But they are so important, and we've got to stop ignoring a major problem within the first responder community. What is that problem? The problem is that throughout the United States, first responders are failing basic standardized fitness testing. They're failing basic standardized tests, but worse than that, our first responders in many cases across the United States, especially over the last several years, have become some of the most deconditioned people in any area or any workforce. Think about that for a second. The men and women who we depend upon to protect society, the warriors on the front lines, the warriors manning the modern ramparts of a new dark age, are getting fatter, getting weaker, and getting softer than the overall general population. They are getting more obese and softer at a higher rate than the overall general population. And these are the people that we are counting on to defend us and to protect our lives and our property. This cannot stand. The men and women of law enforcement, the men and women of the firefighting community must stand as pillars of physical fitness and mental readiness. I have mentioned this before, and I will say it again. When you put on the uniform of the law enforcement officer, when you put on the turnouts, or we'll just say the uniform of the firefighter, when you decide to go down this path, when you're a youngster, early 20s, and you're looking at your future, you've graduated high school and you're trying to decide what your career is going to be. When you decided that you were going to enter into public service and be a protector of society, part of what you did, and I know that nobody told you this, and there wasn't a contract that you signed, but part of what you did was give up the right to be obese, soft, and lazy. You don't have that right anymore. If you think you should have that right, you're in the wrong business. If you think that you have the right to be obese, soft, weak, or lazy, and be a police officer, and be a firefighter, you are wrong. You do not have that right. And if you want the right to be fat, soft, lazy, or weak, you should resign your position as a protector of society. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. Hear me out. Hear me. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. You're a great person. I am sure of it. And it doesn't mean that you are not valuable, because you have intense value. But what it does mean is that you are not ready to take on the responsibilities that you signed up to take. We have a word for that. Disqualified. Okay? We have a word for people who are obese, who are obese, soft, weak, and lazy when it comes to being a first responder, and that word is disqualified. I know that's hard, but in our country, we are seeing a decline, a rot from within, and it cannot affect our first responders, but it is. I mean, think about it. Would you want you defending your most precious loved ones when the chips are down? Are you the one, if your children or your wife are at home and there's a gang outside their house, you're gone, but there's gang members outside their home who are trying to get in, and they call the police and the police arrive, are you the one who would fill yourself with confidence if you're the one that showed up? Would it fill you with confidence if you were the responding officer? Or would you rather have somebody else who is more dominant, more powerful, more healthy, more strong, more fit, more mentally ready than you are? Does that make sense? If you're not the type of officer, if you're not the type of firefighter that you would want responding at the most critical moments for the most precious people in your life, then what are you doing? Would you trust a firefighter who couldn't climb a ladder, or a cop who gets gassed out after 30 seconds in a foot pursuit or a fight? But the truth is, it's happening a lot more than you think. First responder fitness levels are declining. Standards are being lowered, and lives, both the lives of law enforcement officers and firefighters, but also the lives of the citizens they protect, are at risk. Now, why is this happening? And can we fix it before it's too late? I just want to give you some statistics to make you think about this. A 2019 study showed that half of U.S. police officers are obese. More than half of law enforcement officers around this country are obese, making law enforcement, according to Obesity and Health in Law Enforcement, a study that was conducted, makes law enforcement one of the heaviest professions in the United States. Pound for pound, police officers are fatter and more obese than the average population. More than 50% of firefighters are overweight, with 77% failing to meet basic fitness guidelines. That's according to the Journal of Occupational Medicine in 2020. So that's a little bit dated, 5 years ago, but it hasn't gotten better. 77% of firefighters are failing to meet basic fitness guidelines. And if that isn't enough, this should terrify you. 70% of firefighter deaths are not due to smoke inhalation or buildings falling on them or anything like that. It is due to heart disease, often during or right after a call. And that's according to FEMA. In 2021, they did a study. 70% of firefighter deaths are due to heart disease because you're carrying too damn much food storage around your belly. You're too soft. You're allowing yourself to physically deteriorate, and it's killing you. We're seeing around the country, we are seeing police departments removing or drastically lowering their mandatory physical fitness standards. We're seeing fire departments do the same, no longer requiring, now not all, not even most, but many, no longer requiring annual physical fitness tests. And this is leading to an increase in on-duty heart attacks and injuries. You know, it's funny. I don't want to sound like one of those people who, when I was a kid, I had to walk uphill both ways to go to school. But I think I've mentioned this before. When I was in the police academy back in 1996, our police academy class, in order to graduate the academy, had a pretty stringent physical fitness standard. And for my age and my gender, being a man and being a 20-year-old man, because I was one of the youngest in my police academy class, I had to pass, I don't remember every bit of the standard. I think, you had like 40 sit-ups in a minute. You had to, the push-ups were not, they were timed. 40 sit-ups in a minute, 32, 34 push-ups in a minute, and a 1.5 mile run in 12 minutes, 12 seconds. A 1.5 mile run in 12 minutes, 12 seconds. Now, some of you who are natural runners or natural gazelles or who are naturally thin or in really good shape, you think, well, that's not that hard. It literally almost killed me. I had just finished my boxing career a couple years before that, a year or so before that. And I had gained significant weight because I just started competing in powerlifting, or at least not competing yet, but started really focusing on strength. And I wouldn't compete for a few more years, but I started gaining a lot of weight. So I weighed about 240 pounds in the police academy. I was never a great runner. I could run long distances. And when I was boxing, I did plenty of road work, running 6, 7, 8, 10 miles at a time doing the road work. But I was never really fast, and I never really pushed the shorter distances or even the mid distances, such as 800 meter or a mile. So the 1.5 miles in 12 minutes, 12 seconds was very, very difficult for me. And we were getting towards our police academy was split up into 2 modules, 1 and 2. We were getting, in order to move from the first module to the second module, you had to pass that run. So I, on the day of testing, ran so hard, and there's more to this story, but I'm making it short and cutting out a few things. I ran so hard that I almost triggered a heart attack, a cardiac arrest type situation. I went into supraventricular tachycardia, where my heart rate was over 300 beats per minute. It was a flutter, like a hummingbird flutter. And I started to pass out. My academy class members had to grab me. I was taken to the emergency center and was treated. They let me go through to the second half based off of how hard I had worked, I guess. And by the time I graduated the second portion, the second module, I ended up running the 1.5 miles in the fastest time I would ever do it, which was 11 minutes and 54 seconds. It almost literally killed me. Our police academy standards now for the 1.5 miles is just barely under 16 minutes. A very fast power walker can do it. They almost literally killed me, sent me to my grave, and then within 2 years of me graduating the academy, they changed it to where it was almost 16 minutes. Absurd. But that is a thing we are seeing around the country. We are seeing people standards being lowered. We are seeing standards being completely removed. And it's just not right. Now, if you're a first responder, I want to hear from you. How fit are the cops and the firefighters around you? Drop a comment in the below in the comment section. Let's talk about it. How fit are the people in your police department? How fit are the people in your fire department? Let's just talk a little bit further about some of the problems that we're seeing around the country. We're talking about cardiovascular risk. A 2023 report found that firefighters and police officers are 10 to 14 times more likely to suffer a heart attack on duty compared to civilians suffering a heart attack. That's from the American Heart Association, my friends. You as a police officer and a firefighter are roughly 10 to 15% times more, about 15 times more likely to suffer a heart attack while you are working than the average American. That is because not only are you doing a stressful job, a very physically demanding job, but you are not preparing yourself for the physical demands of the job. You've allowed yourself to get out of shape, and you're putting your life at risk. Do you want to leave your family without a mother or a father because you have decided to live a soft, cushy life? Do you want to leave your children fatherless or motherless because you want to put your feet up and not work out? You don't want to go to the gym. You want to sit on the couch and down a few cold ones. That is exceptionally selfish. And I know I'm talking hard here, but sometimes hard truths have to be spoken. You're being selfish. You're being selfish because you're allowing laziness. I apologize. I have clients that keep trying to get a hold of me here. My phone keeps ringing, but I don't want to stop. I want to continue to talk here. You have got to make a decision. You've got to decide if you are satisfied with this high risk life that you're living by not exercising and putting your family's future at risk because you want to live a lazy, soft life. It is not right. A major law enforcement department and a very large fire department recently, in the last few years, stopped their annual fitness test because people were failing to pass it. And so few people were passing it, and few people were showing up. They would call in sick. They would find excuses. Ultimately, they got rid of it, and injury claims have doubled for both that police department and this fire department. And they are on opposite sides of our country, but the results have been the same. Dr. David Marquez, who is a law enforcement fitness researcher, said this. He says, we're seeing a culture where fitness is treated as optional, even though physical ability is essential for the job. See, your physical capabilities, your physical ability is part of your job. It's part of what you have to be able to do the job. And many of you can't do it. You can't do the job. That, again, if that's you, I don't want to beat up on you, but you need to change. In a culture of you're fine just the way you are, I'm not giving that to you today. I'm not. I am not telling you you are fine just the way you are today, because you're not. If you are 40, 50, 60 pounds overweight and you are a police officer or a firefighter, that is not okay. And you need to change because your life's at risk and you're putting other people's lives at risk. So why are police officers and firefighters struggling? Let's talk about the struggle. First and foremost, we're seeing departmental culture and leadership failing our first responders. So we're seeing the culture of a department, which is oftentimes this culture is generated by leadership. And so we're seeing a leadership failure. Many departments don't enforce fitness standards after the academy. After you pass the academy, do whatever you want. Eat those donuts. Eat 5 or 6 donuts. So what? Ride around in your car, never get out. Don't do anything. They don't encourage physical fitness. They don't pay officers to work out on duty. They're allowing people to just do whatever they want to do, and there is no standard. It is a failure of leadership. Budget cuts have caused this. You have fewer training resources. Budget cuts are a real thing. Financially, it's difficult to allow. I'm talking about paying officers to work out for an hour a day, and I am a huge advocate of that. It's something that I I worked for a police department that paid you to work out, that gave you an hour while you were on duty to work out, either before or after your shift. And then I went to an even larger department that didn't do that, and I advocated for it, and we got it approved to where officers, if you didn't check out for lunch, you could still eat, but you couldn't be off duty. You're not for your lunch. You couldn't check off for lunch. As long as you didn't check off for lunch, you could take that hour or that period of time and you could work out beginning or after your shift. And it's a beautiful thing. But budget cuts make it so that fewer departments can do that. And finally, this is pointing right at you, labor unions. Police unions fight against physical fitness requirements. Oh, yes, the police unions, the ones who are supposed to be standing up and defending the law enforcement officer, the one who's supposed to be standing up and defending the firefighter, these labor unions who will fight to the death at your state legislature to make your retirement better, but don't give a rat's ass if you even ever make it to retirement because you die of a heart attack. They will fight against physical fitness standards. They will fight against the very thing that will make it so you make it to retirement. They go in and lobby, these labor unions go in and lobby for pennies, and they will fight to make sure that you get a good retirement. And I say, bravo. But then they fight against your ability to even make it to retirement because they want you to have a cushy, soft career instead of having the reality that you need to work hard. And I know I sound irritated, but this is such a passion of mine. We need fit police officers. We need fit firefighters. And too many times, police unions and firefighter unions are fighting against the very thing that will save your life. It's awful. I heard recently that in 2021, the New York State Police had to lower academy fitness standards after half of their recruits failed to pass the test. And that is not unusual. We're seeing more and more law enforcement and firefighting academies lower the standards because recruits are failing. We see that in the military. And I was talking to one particular fit police officer who said it's frustrating. He said, because some of us take our fitness seriously, but we work next to guys who can barely run a half a mile. Some of us take fitness serious, the others, not so much. So what is another problem with what's going on? Well, shift work and sleep deprivation. This is a serious issue. Sleep-deprived individuals show a 30% decrease in performance. When you're working shift work and you're sleep-deprived, do you really feel like going to the gym? No, you feel like going home and sitting in your chair. And when you've had a stressful work day as a police officer or firefighter, your cortisol is high. You feel like going home and just vegging. It's the exact wrong thing to do. Go back and watch my interview with Dr. Gil Martin, who wrote Emotional Survival for Law Enforcement. Go back and watch that and pick up some of the ideas behind how you can prevent that. Firefighters and cops work long shifts. It leads to exhaustion and it leads to weight gain. This lack of sleep increases cortisol, which leads to fat storage and muscle loss. In fact, according to the Journal of Public Safety and Health, a 2021 study found that first responders working night shift gain an average of 15 pounds in their first 5 years on the job. Who relates to that? I do. I loved working graveyards. I was a predator at night. The criminals and bad guys had no chance, man. I was like the great white shark patrolling the streets, man. That's what I felt like. Looking for the bad guys, looking for those who were going to burglarize homes or commit crime. And yet, I was strong as could be, but I wasn't paying attention to my diet quite as well as I should have. The fact is that most of us are gaining weight when we're on night shift. A third issue that all first responders deal with is poor nutrition and lifestyle choices. Fast food, energy drinks, they dominate the first responder diet. You know, you're tired, just pop open a can of liquid meth, right? You're hungry, just whip into the only thing that's open at night, maybe the drive-thru of McDonald's. Order the double whammy burger and super large fries, and why not top it off with one of those deep fat fried I don't even know what the crap they are, strudel things, pies. Horrible nutrition, horrible lifestyle choices. You've got to start planning ahead. You've got to start packing your own food, or you got to start planning ahead to make sure that your nutrition is on point. One particular statistic out of the Journal of Occupational Health out of in the year 2023 said that 65% of police officers eat fast food 3 times a week. I find that kind of low. I think I ate fast food every night of the week when I was on graveyard shift. Taco Tuesday at Del Taco was it for us, man. We'd sometimes have taco eating contests. We'd wait until all the drunks were either arrested or at home and things had slowed down about 2 or 3 a.m. and we'd go grab the tacos on Tuesday, and man, we'd have a heyday. But 65% of police officers eat fast food 3 times per week. And that isn't necessarily bad, but what are you ordering? Are you getting a grilled chicken sandwich with no mayo and just a little bit of barbecue sauce or something else? Tomato and lettuce? Are you getting something healthier? Or are you ordering what I just mentioned, the double burgers and the fries and the pies and the this and the that? Firehouse meals. Well, you think the firefighters, they have it made, right? Because they're eating really, really good, and it's almost a requirement to be able to cook as a firefighter. But firehouse meals are often in excess of 1,500 calories per plate. That is over 3/4 of what most of your freaking calorie intake should be for the day, because you're not exercising. 1,500 calories per plate. Dr. Eric Johnson, nutritionist for tactical athletes, says, first responders need fuel, not junk. A high-protein diet, whole food diet will improve your performance. But the cultural aspects around food with these jobs is a major challenge. Amen. Amen. Another problem that we have within the first responder community is the cushy job mentality. Many first responders stop training after the academy. Admit it. The best condition you were ever in was when you were in the police academy, right? Because they were forcing you to work out. As soon as you were done, you hit the road and the patrol pounds started piling up because nobody was forcing you to go for a jog. No one was forcing you to hit the deck and give them 30. You had to do it yourself. And this mentality of, if I can pass my yearly exam, why bother training? This mentality of, I can pass the yearly exam, why bother going to the gym? Well, can you pass the yearly exam? Or do they have to keep lowering it so your ever-widening behind can pass? It's not right. It's not right. I heard, and I cannot confirm this, but if there are any Austin, Texas PD officers watching this, perhaps you can confirm this, but I have heard that in 2022, so a few years ago, 55% of you failed the basic strength and endurance test, but still remained on active duty. Any truth to that at all? I suppose there probably is, because that doesn't sound unusual to me, that over half of a police department fails the basic strength and endurance test, but still stays on active duty. Because what's a police department going to do? Suspend all of you? Put you all on light duty? It has to change. You know, I was talking to another retired SWAT guy not long ago. As you know, I was SWAT team commander, and talk to him once in a while, text, chat, whatever. And he said this job used to be about pride and physical excellence. Now it's just about getting by. Oh, what an indictment. I hope that's not true for you. If you're watching this, I know you want to make some changes, and those changes need to take place. I encourage you to do that. He said, this job used to be about pride and physical excellence. Now it's about getting by. So let's fix this. What can be done in our industry to fix it? Well, just like the problems have to be addressed. So the very first problem is leadership. There needs to be mandatory fitness testing. Departments must reinstate annual fitness exams, and they can't be fitness exams that Grandma Geraldine can pass. My wife had a Grandma Geraldine, so that name come to my head. But it cannot be one of these where your grandmother can pass the test with a little bit of preparation. It needs to be tough physical fitness standards. They need to reintegrate fitness standards. But as a part of that, police departments need to start paying officers, and fire departments as well. But this is more of a law enforcement issue rather than a firefighter issue, because many firefighters do have access to a gym and equipment at the firehouse. Police officers and police departments need to start emphasizing physical fitness. And leadership, your sheriffs and your chiefs and all of those in charge need to start incentivizing physical fitness. Give them an hour to work out on duty. Give physical fitness incentives. How about speak where every police officer can listen, and that is in the pocketbook? Can you imagine if right before Christmas of every year, if you were to give $1,000 bonuses or $500 Christmas bonuses to those who at the beginning of the year set physical fitness goals and reached them before December 1st? Can you imagine how conditioned your department would be? We got to start setting our priorities straight. And it works. The San Antonio Police Department reinstated annual fitness tests in 2001. And as a result, they had a 30% reduction in officer injuries within 2 years. So you think, oh, I can't afford a $500 bonus for my fit officers. Oh, yes, you can. Because you'll see a 30% reduction in injuries and officer-related on-duty injuries if you do it. You've got to stop thinking so narrow-mindedly. What can you do to incentivize officers to getting in better shape? Can you pay them to work out on duty? Can you give them a bonus to hit certain standards each year? If you do that, you will save money by your injuries going down, your sick time going down, and officer morale going up. Another thing we can do, and this is more personal now, this isn't necessarily leadership, but this is you as a person. You need to train for the job. You need to do functional fitness exercises, not just bodybuilding, but you need to do exercises that train you for the job, not necessarily train you for looks. Yeah, everybody likes to fill out the uniform. Yes, in the right way, with broad shoulders and narrow hips, not fat gut. But you really need to focus on the exercises that help you with the job, such as farmer walks, loaded carries, sled pushes, box jumps, battle ropes, deadlifts, squats, the things that really help you functionally while you're on the job. Strength coach Mark Ripto, who is just a stud, he says, if you're not training your body, you're training for an injury. If you're not training your body, you're training for an injury. Do you understand that? By not working out, you're just setting yourself up for an injury. So it's time to start working out. Another thing that you can do on a personal level is set realistic workout plans for your busy schedule. I have lots of videos on this. Go back and watch some videos on weightlifting and exercise, VO2 max. Start coming up with a workout plan. 5 minutes of high intensity circuit training, 5 minutes of strength training, 5 minutes of core training is better than nothing. That's a 15-minute workout, and it's better than nothing. But you have more time than that. You doom scroll on your phone longer than that. You sit around in the morning or on the toilet longer than that, going through Facebook. You have more than 15 minutes to dedicate to exercise. Another thing you can do on a personal level is start focusing on better nutrition. I have lots of videos on that. Nutrition for first responders, prioritizing protein. You can follow along with our Habits to Healthy in 1 Year program. Go to the homepage of our Facebook or of our YouTube or the homepage of our Spotify and start listening to the Habits to Healthy in 1 Year program. It's free to you. You need to start making better choices. You need to start prioritizing protein. Instead of candy bars, carry protein bars. Carry jerky, deer jerky, elk jerky, beef jerky. Finally, stop making excuses. This is your responsibility. You swore an oath to serve and protect. But you can't do either if you're physically incapable. So stop whining, stop being a child, and take some personal responsibility. Stop making excuses. Again, you are either preparing for the fight or you're preparing to fail. Do you understand that? You are either preparing for the fight or you are preparing to fail. And we need less failures in our law enforcement and firefighter community. I love you guys. I support you. Both my boys are going into the fire service. I'm retired law enforcement. My heart and my dedication is with you 100%. I wouldn't talk to you this way if I didn't care as much as I do, but I do. The fitness crisis is real, but it's fixable. And so I ask you, are you a first responder who's going to stand up and answer the call to be physically fit and ready when the chips are down? Are you in top shape or are you just coasting by? Drop a comment below. Let me know. But let's make sure that we're doing everything we can to protect society, to protect ourselves, and to be there for our families. And as a bonus, be there for your future, long into retirement. I'm here for you to answer any questions. Just drop them in the comments below. I will personally answer them all. In the meantime, I encourage you, despite the harsh rebuke today, be good to yourself. Be good to others. And as always, stay safe.